What's up, YouTube? So, if you remember in the last episode, we had a breakdown of the CNC torch, and it burned up the threaded part that the electrode screws into. So, I looked online, looked at changing up to a hypertherm. Yeah, it's not in the budget right now. Costs more than the darn material to build this smoker to begin with. So I went ahead and purchased a new torch head from Everlast, and it was in stock, and they sent it to me pretty much right away. I got it in just a couple of days. Wasn't cheap, but hopefully it solves our problem. I got some new swirl rings. I got a 10-piece consumable set and the new torch lead, which is 25 feet long. And it's a 4-pin connector, just like the other. Looks like this torch has actually been tested. As far as consumable parts go, it came with a new swirl ring. Now, I think it'd be pretty hard to make out, but it looks to me that the swirl is going in this direction, or the airflow. And the swirl ring is definitely, the inside is turning in this direction, which would be tightening the electrode. Put this back in place. Tip back in. As you can see, it's a PTM 60 amp torch head. Like I said, it's 25 feet long, which is longer than the one that I have, but I think it should suffice. It pretty much looks like it's the same way as the other. It's slightly different, but in general, it's the same. I got a table full of water here, so we're trying to be careful not to drop anything. When you guys ever try to take apart this drag chain, it's, if you don't know how to do it, you'll end up breaking it. So. Let me show you how these drag chain pieces come apart. So you can see there's a little screwdriver icon there. Ideally, you get you a little micro screwdriver. You get under there and you give it a little pull and it'll disengage, and you can see here where it's cracked from me doing it before, but that's the idea. So if you're not careful, they will break. Luckily though, STV CNC sent a whole bunch of extra ones. So. Okay, so that only took about an hour. Just now, just test it. Obviously, I don't want to start cutting a new project out on this sheet before I test the torch and make sure it actually works. So I got a little bit of space there. I'll find a scrap piece and we'll don't know if circles are the best thing to test because when I cut circles, they're not always, the edges aren't square, very square. All right, let's cut this part out and see what happens there. Okay, so that was a siding adventure. So I had to mess around a little bit with some of the settings, change the voltage a little bit. We were having a couple of issues, but I think all in all it went well. I had to change the consumables out twice. Not bad for as many cuts as I had to do, as much linear footage of cutting to have to change the consumables out. They don't last as long as the high-end stuff does, but they get the job done. Anyway, go ahead and get this pulled out of here and swap out for the next sheet. Okay, so you got tuning plates there, you got the part of the collector, part of the firebox, some of the main body of the smoker, all the little parts and pieces. For that, there's the actual damper for the firebox. And there's the firebox door. There. So it's a lot of pieces, 2.5 sheets. Just under 2.5 sheets, so you can see what I got left there. Okay, so here is the all the parts that we just cut out. And you can see it's a lot of parts, but it's about 2.5 sheets of 4x10 1/4-inch hot rolled plate. They weigh 408 pounds each. Obviously there's some scrap from it, so probably 375, 380, somewhere in there. So even if we just called it 4, it'd be 4, 8, and then 2. It's about 1,000 pounds, probably 900 pounds of material just in the plate. So now we got to start building it, and got a couple of things we need to do before we start welding it together. And let's see, we've got, let's see. We've got these angles that the cooking grates sit on. You can see right here, there's a bolt. And if I don't weld that bolt in first from the back side, do a nice plug weld and grind it off, I can't weld these on. And I like to weld these parts on prior to the sides, that way I can get them exactly where I want. So take a dimension from here down to the top, 5.5 inches. And then from there down 12 inches. So 5.5 and 12. All right, we're gonna wrap this up for the day. Gotta go to dinner.